Folks, welcome back to the Crossing Swords podcast, and welcome back to the start of the Buffalo Sabres season, as we're just 1 hour away from puck drop. And you might notice I got a new face next to me here. It is not Mike Bundt. We'll get to him in a little bit, but we're joined by the 2025 Fan of the Year for the Sabres, listening and here all the way from Czechia, Viktor Maudr. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very good, and I'm very excited that the season is finally starting because I couldn't wait that the thing is going.
Yeah, it's been like 176 days since we've last, seen the Sabres play in a real game. So I guess tell me, how are you feeling? And then also, what time is it for you right now? And how do you get yourself up and going for these Sabres games at this hour?
Well, it's just midnight right now. We just passed the midnight, and usually the games are starting at 1 in the morning when we are playing in classic Buffalo time. So
yes,
but yeah, it's just a passion that gets you going to watch all these games. I watch like live 95% of the games. I just don't miss usually the game. So it's every time. It's the love for the Sabres that gets you up and just want you to watch the games.
It's got to be, and this game is super exciting because it has been so long. There's a lot of new faces here for the Sabres, and I think we've had a long summer to kind of think about this and what it's going to look like. Are there any faces, playing maybe their first game today in Buffalo that you're really excited to see, play for the Sabres?
Well, I couldn't say maybe the new face, but you still seen Josh Norris in only 3 games. Oh. And you know that he was kind of cracked, he was kind of injured. So when you watch, Josh Norris during the preseason, he looked really good. And that's what gets you excited. You want to see Josh Norris in his prime, playing with Thompson, playing with Benson, and you just want to see it live, how Norris will perform in a regular NHL game. So that's one name. And of course, I'm pretty excited about Josh Doan. That's the thing. I think Josh Doan is the guy that you want to see, that you want to watch, and he can be, in my opinion, the guy for the Sabres, the gritty guy who will get the things going. And yeah, these are the 2 names I think every Sabres fan is looking forward to.
100%, and I don't know how in tune you are with the other Buffalo sports, but the Bills have Josh Allen, the Bandits have, Josh Byrne. It seems like the Sabres are following that track by getting Josh Norris and Josh Doan, and I'm very excited for both those guys. That first line, especially for the Sabres over the preseason, Norris really blew away every expectation I had of him just so far. He led the NHL in preseason points, which, is what it is. But that line is super exciting. I think we have a great time ahead. Bunty, enjoy the game. Excited to talk to you again in a little bit. Steve, good to see you here. There's a lot of talk on, what this team's going to look like. You see, analytics people, especially, Sabres 90 points, Evolving Hockey 98. Yep. There's a lot of talk from the analytics community on how this Sabres team's going to be, how good they're going to be. Where do you see this team kind of going as we get the season on the road? You see some people having the 80 points, 90 points. Do you think the Sabres team is better than where they were last year?
I think they are better. Well, let's see it from the other perspective. The 5-on-5 scoring for the Sabres were the 4th best in the NHL last season, which is maybe crazy for most of the Sabres fans because you always say we need top 6 forward, we need to score goals, but they were damn good scoring goals.
Top 10 in the league.
Yeah, top 4, it was 4th place in the 5-on-5, and if you go past 3 seasons, the Sabres are the best team in NHL in scoring 5-on-5 if you calculate all 3 past seasons. So that's pretty good, and you need just to make your defense better and help your goalie. And with Kesselring, not today in the lineup, but in general in the lineup, he can make Power better, and that's what you need. In my opinion, Owen Power needs to make a big step. By the way, you look kind of like Owen Power. Has anyone told you?
Yeah, I got the hair. I know I can't skate as well. I'm definitely not as tall as him, but I got the hair at least.
All right, so yeah, you need to get Owen Power just much better this season, and we all hope that Kesselring will do this thing. And if you have Samuelson and Timmins in a third D pair, it's good. They won't mess the things up. So you just need to have a better defense, and you need to have better special units. That's the key to make the playoffs. And I think this Sabres team, if they will stay healthy, they can fight easily for a wild card spot.
I agree 100%. And you see the areas the Sabres really struggled in last year. It seems like they are better in that aspect so far. I think kind of the big question mark now is how is Alex Lyon going to look in net for the Sabres? We'll see his first start officially with the blue and gold today. And yeah, the Sabres defense got better. They are missing Michael Kesselring today, but you see Owen Power. And I think you look at the offseason for the Sabres, the big thing was obviously the JJ Peterka trade. How is this going to look for the Sabres? How is it going to come out? You know, if Owen Power is a better defenseman, that trade is already a huge success. And then you throw in Josh Doan on top of that, who is going to be kind of a fan favorite player with just how he plays the game. He's going to score some timely goals. And yeah, Steve, you know, we might need a Crossing Swords chant song. No UPL to start the season, so we'll have to come up with something.
Well, we have pretty different ones. We don't need to stick with just with a UPL. We have a couple of different chants. You need to learn, guys.
Yeah, that's our big downfall as especially American sports fans. The chants are nowhere near what we have in Europe. Real Deal Prime 4-1 victory. I'm not going to say the S word, but it feels like the vibes around this team right now are good. It feels different. Is that something you're feeling as well, that, you know, there's something here that we may not have had in previous seasons?
Well, I think just the culture changed kind of with the occurrences of Doan and Kesselring.
Yes.
They bring from Utah the different mentality. They are kind of like, I would not say Skinner wise, but some like with a more positive attitude than it was with JJ, and I think it could work for this team. And then this team is angry, and this team needs to make points. And I think, you know, it can go on with the good way this season.
Yeah, it's definitely, it feels that way, and I'm super excited these additions. That Sabres first line of Zach Benson, Josh Norris, Tage Thompson is just so exciting, and every time they're out there, I just want them to stay forever. But I think something I'm really interested in watching today is the Sabres middle six. How's that going to look? Because they can get that secondary scoring from a Yuri Kulik. You know, Alex Tuck can continue his game. Jason Zucker can, you know, have a similar track. They're going to score a lot of goals. And if that defense stays strong, you have Rasmus Dahlin, Bo, and Byram together. Like, this is all kind of coming together. So I guess a question for you, maybe outside of that top line for the Sabres, who do you see coming up big today, maybe finding the back of the net? That's a Yuri Kulik, if it's, you know, an Alex Tuck kind of guy like that.
But maybe we can stay still in the first line. I said this season and this game is pretty important for Zach Benson. You need to make he's a grinder. You know, he's playing very well on the ice, but he needs this point production. He can do that with Thompson and Norris, but
you can put up points along those two.
Yeah. He needs to, you know, to make this step forward, bringing points to the team, and I think I'm pretty excited to watch Zach Benson. Also, Yuri Kulik, I know he had very good offseason. He trained really hard, and that's the thing you need from the guys going into the season, because we know last season there were a huge problem that the guys weren't ready for a season. They had, you know, I couldn't swear, so I wouldn't say shitty offseason. So you need them, you know, to have a great offseason, and I believe they did. When I was talking with Lindy when I was in Buffalo, he said, I wouldn't say anything about the past offseason, but I will tell you one thing. It's not going to happen again. And we all hope, you know, all these guys have a good offseason. They will be ready for a start. And Jack Quinn, that's also the guy, you know, he got a bridge deal. He needs, you know, to prove that he's a sharpshooter in this NHL. And he needs to score like 20, 30 goals at least this season.
Yeah, if he can get like that 20-goal marker on that third line, things are going to be looking really good here in Buffalo. And yeah, there's a couple guys in that forward group who are just need to get the points behind their production. Zach Benson has like passed every eye test, but if you look at his stats, it just hasn't been there. But you put him on that top line, they're going to have an incredible season together. As long as they get that secondary scoring, they can keep that top line together. They can kind of go from that point on. But Victor, tell me, you know, do you have a prediction for today's game score-wise? Do you see the Sabres in their home opener getting a W?
I really do believe they will get a W. You know, the Rangers didn't have a great start of the season, so they will start hard on the Sabres. They already got the first game behind them, which is kind of, I would say, advantage for them at the beginning of this game. But I believe, like, the first period will be very defensive from the Sabres. They will try to have a clean sheet and then start all the offense we have. And finally, I would say it's going to be like 4-2 Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm on that same track. I think when you talked to Bundt, I said this very similar score. I'm really interested to see how the Sabres respond tonight, whether that be they go down a goal or they're up two. We've seen in previous seasons, if they're down, they might kind of, play more individual game. We saw in the Detroit preseason game, Lindy Ruff really harped on, they can't do that this year. They can't, try to rely on themselves and skill and not be a team. So I'm excited to see if they go down, how do they respond? If they're up, can they continue playing how they were, put their foot on the pedal and not do what we saw last year against, I feel like every Colorado game of just
Colorado. That ruined the season.
Apart.
This game just messed the whole season. Yeah.
Yeah, because the 13-game losing streak came from there. Darlene was out. So, I mean, even think of the Sabres point total where they finished. To do that with 13-game losing streak was, I think more than I would have thought going into the year for that 13-game losing streak.
That's
but
right.
This team, that there's something there. So, Viktor, we're going to have you on the show. We have these shows on Thursday, for Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock on, non-game days. Game days will go at 6 o'clock, kind of lead into the Sabres season. So what is your kind of routine for a Sabres game? You have like a midnight, 1 a.m, watch time. What does that look like for you from puck drop to end of game?
Well, usually I'm smoking pipe, like the tobacco pipe, not the better one, but the tobacco pipe. So usually at the beginning of the game, I'm having my tobacco pipe. I'm making myself coffee, and then just enjoying the game. That's my routine through the whole game, and enjoying every goal we score.
Yeah.
But one thing, I saw your post on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. What the hell is going on with the goal song? Kickstart my heart. Oh, come on.
It's crazy. We have a fan vote, and then the fans voted to keep the same song that we're at. I think there's other, there's a fun option that,
Cascada guy. I'm a Cascada. When Jeff Skinner scored a goal, it was always fun, bring these some kind of funny songs, to play within the arena, and everyone gets a beer and goes, "Yay!" No,
exactly.
With this,
Victor
it's just
Olofsson.
Yeah.
I think it's
well.
fun
I love the idea when the players choose their goal songs. I don't know why didn't we stick to that, because I think that's the most funniest way. And I'm still very, very disappointed that Ilya Libushkin couldn't play the Gummy Bear song.
Gummy Bear song. That was the biggest disappointment.
Yeah.
I obviously it sucked that it didn't make the playoffs, but to not hear that song once was we'll be thinking about it for a while. But it's an exciting day today. We waited so long to have Sabres hockey back on the screens, and we have 82 games. So no matter how this game goes, we're going to ride the highs and the lows. We got 81 more games after this. So we saw how the team started last year in Prague, how it was just it was bad hockey. It was not good. So, the bar is set low for this season. Is there one thing, maybe team-wise you're just looking at to, put yourself at peace of mind that this team is going to be, taking that next step for you?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
It is, yeah. I don't even know how I would answer that, and I asked the question.
Yeah. Well, I think this team needs to get better in special teams, definitely.
Yes.
If you don't have a good special teams, you can go far in the playoffs. So you need to have a good special teams, and they just need to be responsible in front of the own net. The goals will come. We see this team will score goals, so you need to be responsible in front of the own net. And one thing that will be important for this team, and that's not on the guys playing on the ice, and for the fans, just don't boo them after one bad power play. Just don't boo them at the beginning of the season. As I said, this team is not responsible for the whole drought. Most of these guys weren't even playing hockey on a professional level when the drought starts. So this team is not responsible for the drought. So give them some time, cheer for them, give them your buffalo, and it will pay off. Every time there is a we say that the fans are the sixth player on the ice. So be the sixth player of the Buffalo Sabres, and it will pay off.
Yeah, I mean, we have 82 games, and eventually this drought will come to an end. This will, not be forever. And when that day comes, it is going to be awesome. Steve, good to see you. Yeah, his faceoffs were incredible the preseason. Totally forgot to talk about that. Power play penalty kill just going to be better because of that. I think this is the first game that they played in. They scored 2 goals right off his faceoff. So just getting that extra scoring. Lindy Ruff talked so much in the offseason about how important it is to win 1-goal games. you get an extra goal there. You win a faceoff on your own end to take one out. That's an extra couple of wins throughout the season. That's the difference, to get this team to hopefully that next level. But Victor, I don't know if you have any final thoughts before we jump to Mike Bundt, but I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Well, I don't have anything. I said everything. Just enjoy the games, have a lot of beers, have your wings as I did today, and enjoy the Sabres game. Give them some hope, give them some trust, and let's see where this season will bring us.
Yeah, and I think it's a sellout tonight, or very, very, very close. It's like 100 tickets away, so I'm expecting the arena to be loud. Excited to see the Sabres team back in. But Victor, thank you for stopping by. Excited to talk to you. The rest of the Sabres season is going to be a fun one. But now, let's jump to Mike Bundt. Long off season, 176 days. Buffalo Sabres hockey's back tonight. How are you feeling? We finally made it to day one.
Yeah, can't wait. It's going to be fun to be back at the building. I had tickets to a couple preseason games, but couldn't make it. So this is going to be my first time back since late in the season last year. Can't wait to see some of the new guys. Disappointed not to see Kesselring in the lineup today, but pumped for guys like Josh Doan and Josh Norris and some guys that I really haven't had a chance to see in Buffalo Sabres jerseys yet. So this is going to be a fun night, and hopefully the Sabres give us a win to get some optimism flowing to open the season.
Yeah, a Buffalo Sabres team in October that strings together a couple of wins is probably one of my favorite feelings in the world. And you're going to be there tonight. What's it being like for you to, be in the stands, to actually feel kind of the energy there, being at KeyBank Center? What's that kind of mean for you as we're here going to game one? And I feel like there's just something special about, being at a Sabres game, and especially being at a home opener where it feels like this whole off season, there's just something a little different in the vibes and how people are looking at this Buffalo Sabres team.
Yeah, I want to see what the energy is in the building today, because while the metrics and some of the analytics are pointing to what could be a nice rebound season, maybe even playoff contention and a surprise type team, I don't know if the majority of the fan base is there yet with those expectations. I feel like maybe those that follow the team closely have gotten to that point, but for the most part, I still think a lot of people are down on this team in general. So I want to see what the building is like. If they go down 1-0 early, is it here we go again, or is there some belief that this team can maybe be a little bit different? I'll say this, like, it, Gatesy, I've always been Bills over Sabres. Not to say I don't love the Sabres. Like,
You've said
absolutely love the Sabres. Like, they're a passion of mine. But I've always enjoyed going to Sabres games more than Bills games, which might sound like weird to a lot of people, especially since like Bills games are crazy, they're rowdy. For me, like, I feel that more anxiousness when I'm at a Sabres game, just because when you're watching on TV, a lot of times it just becomes kind of like background. You're like, okay, goalie's going to get a save. Like, this happens, that happens. Like, when are we going to see a goal? When you're at a game, like, every single like rush feels like an opportunity, like for a goal or something crazy to happen. And you really start to see the plays developing. And I do have improved seats this year. I'm the second row in the 300 level. So I'm going to have a pretty good view where I'm at this year, and really just excited to see how it plays out. There's a lot of home games early in this slate for the Sabres. So we all know how they finished last year at home. If they can carry over some of that into this year, maybe that gets them that start that they really need to build some momentum. I know they've had hot starts several times during this drought, and it hasn't turned into success later in the season, but it just feels a little bit different this time, because I do believe this is a more rounded roster than what they've had in the past, and maybe more sustainable if they can get off to a good start overall.
100%. And you brought up, what's that feeling going to be like in the arena if the Sabres, give up the first goal of the game? What is going to be your mindset? Not saying that, there's between a goal happening in the first 30 seconds versus maybe in the second period. What are you, either tell fans or tell yourself, the Sabres get down 1-0 in this game, that, there's 60 minutes of hockey play. What's going to be your mindset tonight?
I'm going to just look at how they respond either way. If they do go up 2, do they continue forcing the issue, being aggressive, making things happen with the forecheck, or do they get passive, start playing to not allow a goal or basically hold back a little bit. If they go down 1 or 2 early, does that impact their confidence? Do they get shaky? Do they get hesitant? I just want to see, more than anything, a confident team that's playing hard, that's creating opportunities, and just playing good hockey overall. The one thing that last year was encouraging early and disappointing midway, mostly during the losing streak, was that they were a good 5-on-5 team for the most part. They did do a lot of things well in really the tough parts of the game. Where they struggled was the power play, the penalty kill, and suboptimal goaltending. And that's the tough part, because normally, like, you're good on 5-on-5, you're going to be a good team. So I want to see this team show the things that I've believed in. I think they have 3 forward lines that can contribute. I think they have 2 top end defense pairs. Now tonight, no Kesselring, so that kind of impacts the second pair. But you still have Owen Power on your second pair of defensemen. So, like, even if it is Ryan Johnson with him, and say you keep Timmins and Samuelson together on the third pair, I still expect a good outing. Like, you shouldn't be -1 guy and then your entire team falls apart. So I just hope this team, and I expect them to have their heads in the right place. I just want to see a balanced game, not just based on skill and sniping. I need to see good defensive presence, right spots, doing the right things. This is year 2 of Lindy. I expect them to take a step forward and start doing things the way they're supposed to be doing things.
100%, Bunty. You brought up a point too of just how they respond if they're down or they're up. I think that's the thing I'm most interested in seeing in the Sabres team. And the reason that, at least I'm saying things feel different is that's what that means is if this team is up 2-0, if they're up 2 goals, whatever, are they going to continue the way they played, or are they going to fall into a shell? And we saw plenty of times last year, every time they played Colorado, especially, they would fall apart. They would play a different style of game. And if they were down, like, this team can't afford to fall apart. We saw how they were last year at times. And if they get down 1 goal, they get down 2 goals, what's their play style look like? We saw in the first, I think, Detroit game they played, and when they lost, they played very individualistic, and Lindy Ruff really harped on that in the post-game presser. If, things aren't working, are they going to break down as a team and kind of default to their individual play styles that haven't gotten them anywhere in the NHL? Or are they going to kind of come together as a team and find a way to win? That's what I'm interested in. Who knows if we'll see that tonight against the New York Rangers, who lost 3-0 their opening night against Pittsburgh. Bunty. Now, you talked about some guys earlier, some guys you haven't seen. Is there a specific player you're looking at tonight to lead the Sabres, or someone you're interested in that, whether that be, that top line of guys, just how they've been pushing pace all preseason? Josh Norris led the NHL in preseason points with 7, or is it going to be a kind of guy in that bottom 6, bottom pairing? But who are you looking at tonight, Bunty?
Yeah, I'm looking at a couple different areas. Obviously, the top line, which we assume is going to be Benson, Norris, Thompson. I want to see how they all work with each other during regular season hockey, because it looked really good in the preseason. And I know Norris is not a facilitator, but if Benson can take on that role, do the dirty things in the corner, and then you have 2 options that are great at sniping and putting the puck in the back of the net, that top line could be pretty dangerous. Thompson, we've seen him score near 50 goals in a season. Last year, 44. He should be a 40-plus goal scorer. If you can have Norris be a 30-plus goal scorer and then Benson doing the dirty work, that should be a good top line. I like the second line too. Zucker and McLeod, I don't expect them to necessarily replicate what they did last year, but I think both of them are tough players to play against. Zucker doing what he needs to in front of the net. McLeod being a fast 2-way player. And then you add Alex Tuck to that line. That's an intriguing thing, because Tuck has had to play with Thompson in the past. So now kind of separating Thompson and Tuck, that now spreads out some of your top end talent. And even that third line with Kulik, Quinn, Norris, are they going to bring something to the table, or are they going to struggle as a young line? The good news is they're the third line. In the past, Peterka, Cousins, Quinn, That was the second line. They were playing above where they should have been. So I feel like the three lines are slotted where they're supposed to be. And then really the other two areas you have to be paying attention to. Byram and Dahlin, do they still have that connection that they had last year? And then Alex Lyon in net. Can he get the job done when UPL is gone? Because there's obviously going to be more of a split platoon in net this year. And I think Alex Lyon, you're hoping you get above a 90 save percentage from him this year. So if you can get him above a 90, like I've said this all off season, if you get average goaltending, this Sabres team can absolutely make the playoffs. Yes. But are you going to get average goaltending? That remains to be seen. We don't know with any of these goalies right now that are currently on the roster.
Yeah, definitely question marks, and that's kind of been the nature of the offseason is what are we going to get come game one, come October, November, December with this team, because there's a lot of question marks. I'm really looking at, obviously, Josh Doan's been a guy I've been staring at all offseason. I think he's going to be a great addition to this team. But you brought up Yuri Kulik. Towards the end of preseason, they put him up on that second line. As of right now, it's not set in stone who is where between him and McLeod. But I'm really interested in him because I think the Sabres offense is going to get to that next level of scoring from him and his line. We know that top line dominated in the preseason. They worked so well together. But what are the Sabres going to get outside of that? We saw in some of the later games, I think Kulik had 2 goals in the last preseason game. If he can build off that, if he can be that secondary scoring for the Sabres, the defense, while it got better, doesn't have to take massive strides, this year. They can, be good and solid, but they don't have to be, a night and day difference than what we saw last season. I would say Alex Lyon in net. How is he going to be for the Sabres? Just needs to be serviceable. Exactly like you said. Yeah. And I think I'm just excited to watch that first line. Bunty, I think they're so fun to watch. I wish they could just keep them out all 60 minutes because I would just watch that forever. So I want to see how they do. And if the Sabres can get some secondary scoring, then we know we can keep that top line together. We don't have to break them up and try to get scoring outside of, those three. But yeah, I think that's kind of my big look tonight. Special teams, you brought it up earlier, how that was such a detriment to the blue and gold last year. How are they going to look? And then do we know what the goal song is? Have they announced it? I'm just thinking about it. I haven't heard about it.
That's going to be a surprise.
First goal, they were just going to get it. That's crazy. I'm going to guess.
I'm going to guess it's going to be every time we talk. I think that's what young people are going to enjoy more. Yeah. It's funny because you listen to GR and they're always talking about Swords of a Thousand Men. Like, what 15-year-old girl wants to hear Swords of a Thousand?
I don't want to hear Swords of a Thousand Men.
It's it's a little creative, hoorah, it's kind of catchy, but it's an old song, and I really think that only connects with a small portion of Sabres fans. And I know Sabres Twitter loves Jeremy White, and he's been pushing that song. I just don't think the average person wants to hear that. The fact that last year's Kickstart My Heart or whatever was tied with Every Time We Touch shows that people aren't interested in Swords of a Thousand Men. I think it's going to be Every Time We Touch. We'll see what happens.
I think so too. And I think you look at the most popular goal, the Sabres had players pick their own songs. I don't know if I'm just on a specific part of Sabres Twitter, but Jeff Skinner every year. Olofsson, we had ABBA. Those were songs that people liked and they were fun. They made the arena fun. That's the point of all of this.
That's the thing. We got to remember, hockey isn't just about what hockey bros or sports metrics people want. We want young people to have fun. We want people that are non-hockey fans just having a good night to have fun. And so sometimes you have to pick these songs that aren't necessarily what I would think of hockey songs as the goal songs. And I don't think there's anything wrong. I heard Marty being the lyrics are every time, we talk to Every Time We Kiss and all, that's not about hockey. It doesn't need be about hockey. It just needs to sound cool when they score a goal. So we'll hear, I'll be fine with whatever, but it doesn't really matter.
And heaven forbid there's some energy and excitement in that arena. They score, they can build off that. I don't know. I think it's fun. I think it's something memorable too. I can't even tell you what Sort of a Thousand Men sounds like anymore. It's been a week since I last heard it. So yeah, we'll see what that is. I think it's going to be a fun experience, Bunty, when you're in there and what are they going to play? I think they're going to drag it out, but yeah, we are nearing
here today.
We're not even going to think about that. Alrighty, folks, hopping in quickly. Myself and Bundt talked, a couple hours ago. He's going to the game. We pre-recorded that segment. But just now, we have some breaking news from the Sabres. Zach Benson not playing today. Day-to-day, heard some rumors, puck to the face in practice. He is not playing. Owen Power also out tonight, day-to-day with illness. So I saw a picture posted. I saw Tyson Kozak out for warm-ups. It looks like Ryan Johnson, Jacob Bryson in for defense. So the Sabres, night one, opening night, already banged up, bruised, missing some key pieces, especially on the back end. But the Sabres weren't going to stay healthy all season. And if they were missing a couple of guys and that was going to derail the year, it was going to be a long season to begin with. So we're going to have some new guys in some spots. Tyson Kozak will be making, his season debut as well. And then on the back end, it's going to be a big game from Rasmus Dahlin. Every game kind of has to be a big game for him. What's that going to look like for him? How many minutes is he going to get? Are they going to split him and Byram up? I feel like you kind of have to at this point. So the Sabres really focused this preseason on building chemistry between guys. They didn't really change up the lines too much. All that flown out the window. That's all gone. Not happening anymore. We'll see. Hopefully we can get these guys back for game 2. But for now, that's where we're at. We're going to continue with Bundt here in one moment. But hey, we already saw one shutout when the Rangers played this season. They were on the wrong side of that. But we have Sabres, Rangers, 7 p.m. puck drop Bunty. How are you feeling about this game? The Sabres are playing a team that just got shut out against the Pittsburgh Penguins, which are kind of in a weird spot themselves. What do you see from tonight? I don't know if you have a score prediction yourself or just kind of a general vibes thing, but what are you feeling for the blue and gold game 1 of the 2025-26 NHL season?
I have a nervous energy right now just because it's a new season. You when you have a drought like this, you put so much pressure on getting off to a quick start. And then if you lose a couple games, you're like, oh, here we go again. It doesn't feel good.
Old Sabres.
So like all the metrics, all the models right now, a lot of them think that the Sabres have a chance to be a good team or at least competitive. The Rangers kind of down on them, not a lot of excitement surrounding them at the current moment. I don't really have a prediction tonight. I know the Rangers, I think, are slight favorites, but this could go either way. I just want the Sabres to look like they're competent and know what they're doing. I know they had some success against the Rangers last year, and they were able to knock their goalie out a few times, which historically he's amazing.
Yes,
against the Sabres. I just don't want to see like soft goals be the difference allowed by the Sabres to be the difference. Like I don't want to see Alex Lyon lose them a game because like the thing that's like tough with me with the Sabres is, me, I'm not a big believer that goaltending makes a massive difference in hockey at the NHL level. I believe most average goalies from 10 to 25 get you basically the same thing. Yep. And if you have an elite goalie, they can win you some games. And if you have like near the bottom goaltending in the league, they can lose you some games. Unfortunately, I think the Sabres have had some of that bottom 5 goaltending some of these years. So we have this feeling like that goaltending is so important because like we just haven't had average goaltending to even just buy since Allmark.
You look at Sabres history too of like their best teams. You have Dominic Hasek and Net and Ryan Miller now, like the cornerstone of a team.
And like that's the thing I struggle with. So like I'm trying to think of the TSN analytics guy, Travis Yost, who is on Show Up in the Bulldog. And he's saying, well, the Sabres actually they roll 3 lines deep. They have a good defense pair, but their goaltending is going to hold them back. And he said that I don't know if a great defense pair, like great defense in front of the goal, can make up for bad goaltending. Like if you're a bad goaltender, you're still going to allow a lot of goals, even if your team is playing well in front of you. But then at the same time, he's mentioning how when you play for Florida, it's different than playing goalie for Buffalo, and basically the style and the guys in front of you. So like I feel like that kind of contradicts itself.
100% does.
In one moment, you're saying like you don't know if goaltending can be masked by the players in front, but then you're saying, well, these are other situations of goaltenders that have looked better than what their numbers.
Yeah, what's 100% about?
Like the numbers say they're good, but they're not as good as what their numbers say because of the team in front. So like to me, that's kind of a contradiction.
Yes.
So like And I think, like, when you hear Chad DeNomis talk about hockey, he often tells you the similar thing I believe, where, like, you don't want to pay too much for a goalie because the thought is you're not guaranteed to get that production, and then you're overpaying, and your allocation of cap and all that stuff is a little bit messed up. So you do the platoon, and Yost talked about the platoon as well.
Yeah,
it's just kind of interesting because, like, we've seen Jay Fresh project the Sabres at 93. We've seen Evolving Hockey at 98. Now that's an outlier. That's pretty high. We've seen The Athletic at 90. There's another one at 90. Now ESPN was like at 80, which has been really low, but I don't know if I'm trusting ESPN analytics.
Also said Zach Benson as a center.
Yeah, so, like, I guess the thing I struggle with is when he was talking with Schopp and the Bulldog, he's talking about, like, hesitancy with this team because he's thinking, like, well, maybe the Sabres are going to get that crappy goaltending, but all these other models are factoring in the Sabres goaltending too, and they don't seem to be down on it. My belief is this: if you have a top 5 to top 7 defense in front of you, and you just got better defensive forwards, you're going to allow less prime opportunities. If you allow less prime opportunities, that leads to less goals allowed, and then you should be a better team. So I think I do disagree a little bit with him, even though he's a way more intelligent guy than me and knows what he's talking about. Like, at the end of the day, like, we saw 2 years ago UPL have an above average season.
Yep.
So, like,
and what it did for the team.
Yeah. So, like, are the Sabres goaltending going to look better this year? I think it will look better. And I think we'll know early on if this is a team that's really going to be a playoff contender or not. And even with all, like, negative vibes of, like, a 14-year drought, I still look back at last year and think they were a 91-point pace for, like, the first 25 games. 13-game losing streak, and then they were a 90-point pace like the last 40. So is it really that crazy to think that they could be a 90, 91-point team? And then Evolving Hockey even talks about puck luck. Like, the Sabres had a lot of games that went the other way that really, according to, like, metrics, never should have played out that way. So I know a lot of people like to doubt the numbers. They like to doubt the metrics. I see a team that on paper is pretty well rounded that just needs a few things to bounce their way, and they'd be right in it.
Yeah, it's 100% that, because you hear Lindy Ruff talk all offseason and really make it a point of contention in the preseason that the amount of, I forget the exact percentage of NHL games that were 1-goal games last season, and how the Sabres were on the wrong side of those a lot. And if they can win, a handful more of those games, they win 4 more of those games. That's 8 extra points for the Sabres right there. If you get to overtime, you get a couple extra there. Like, there's, over the course of an 82 game season, Bunty, there are a lot of areas this team can make up points. You don't go on a 13 game losing streak. You go 500 instead. You get to that point. And it's hard when, you compare, you look at the Bills and Sabres, obviously 2 different things, but the Sabres play 82 games. One, game here is less than a quarter of an NFL game in terms of, what it's worth over the course of the season. You see the Bills first week, it took them till the final, 8 minutes to start playing good. So, I think the Sabres are going to come out in a better way today. I think we're going to see, you'd expect from the jump, home opener, you hear the guys talking to media, to, different shows that they want this to work. They want this to happen. And I think you're going to see this team come out. You saw it in preseason, how sharp they looked off the get-go, which kind of surprised me. It didn't take too long for guys to find their legs. You have Rasmus Dahlin on your team. You have Tage Thompson. That alone is, a huge thing to build off for this organization. I'm also low on this Rangers team, Bunty, by a lot. I think the Sabres, get that 4-2 win tonight, something that's there where they get a couple in, they have Alex Lyon in that. How's he going to look? I'm really interested to see that. I think it's going to be serviceable. And yeah, I think it just comes down to how this team plays, especially in their own end, not letting teams have such an easy time. But we're going to find out in just a little bit, Bunty.
Yeah, can't wait. And, I just keep thinking back, like, this team is the deepest Sabres team we've had in such a long time. And even Cousins, Paterka, all that stuff that happened in the past, like they were playing second line. And the biggest problem I always had is like I wanted veterans on that second line. And the way it's broken down now, man, like if your second line is McLeod, Zucker, Tuck, like, and you got Norris and Thompson on your first line, like 5 of your top 6 like forwards are vets at this point. And like at some point, Benson's gonna break out.
I 100% this year.
And he already plays hockey the right way, even without the point totals. So I feel really good about that 6. And like, let's be real. We all know Quinn has talent.
Mm-hmm.
Quinn on the third line, it's kind of like, I'm not saying these are the same players, but it's like Maxim Afinogenov. Yeah, there's flaws in his game. He's not a Lindy player, but like you see the reasons why it's beneficial to have him there. And like,
and if you can get it going.
Quinn has like a 15 goal scorer on line 2 is a liability. Quinn has a 15, 20 goal scorer on line 3 is an asset. Like it's the same way I look at Kulik. Like Kulik 20 goals this year would take that in a second. And like it's the balancing out too. Like I have no question about the second line, them doing what they're supposed to do.
Yes.
But like sometimes you have questions about Thompson defensively, but you have Benson to make up for it.
Yes.
And Norris is like okay enough to where like I have questions about Quinn defensively, but you got Doan on that line.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and Kulik is like a better defender than people give him credit.
There's way more balance. And I think like the weaknesses of this team are countered by guys on those lines that can protect against some of the bad things. And what it really comes down is goaltending. And like, here's the other thing. Like, is Lyon a stud? No, he's not. But like, I know he had like an 896 save percentage last year in Detroit, which is not good, but it's better than what the Sabres goalies have had. And let's be real, it's not like Detroit is playing a good style of hockey in front of Lyon either. Like he was probably left out to dry quite a bit in Detroit. And the year before, he had over a 90 save percentage. So like, I don't think this is like Carter Hutton or some of the other guys that the Sabres have had, the guy that went back to Winnipeg recently, like
Eric Comrie.
Like I don't think this is Hutton or Comrie or any of these.
No, James Reimer.
Like Reimer, I actually thought probably should have seen the ice more in
which is crazy for how old he was.
But like, I'm not asking Alex Lyon to be the next coming of Ryan Miller. Just give me around a little over a 90 save percentage, and just don't lose them games. Like that's what I need. Like when the Sabres are irresponsible and they allow odd man rush, like you're going to allow some goals. But I'm hoping they reduce that with some of these guys and make a save every once in a while. Like that's what they severely lack. So we'll see. I feel good about this team, and I do think my point projection is 87 points. It's not 90. It's not picking playoffs, but I think this team is going to be in the race the entire season. And then the question is, are they going to be able to finish it off when it matters?
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit more bullish on them. I think they do get to the 90s, especially. I think they have some guys. I'm just thinking like Constantinius, like someone who's going to be in Rochester. He's going to get his call up some point in the season, probably around the 30 game mark. What's he going to look like when he gets his chance here? He looked good in the preseason. No, Austin, same thing. But Bunty, it's going to be a long season, so let's enjoy tonight. Enjoy your time at the game. And any final thoughts before I kick it back to myself?
Just excited for tonight. One of 16 for sure that I'm going to this year.
Yes.
So I'll have post-game short videos on Twitter and Instagram following every game I go to. So keep an eye out on those. I know you're going to be doing your thing, your video breakdowns as well. So can't wait. Hopefully this is the year the drought ends and we have some fun this season.
Yeah. You can't end a drought without an opening night. So let's enjoy tonight, Bunty. Enjoy your time at the game. And I'll kick it back to myself. Folks, it feels like an absolute lifetime since Bunty and I recorded that segment just like literally an hour and a half ago. So since then, Owen Power out, Zach Benson out. And in the lineup now, Mason Gearston in at forward and Ryan Johnson in at defense. Gearston, Rempe opening faceoff. Yeah, honestly, yeah. Let's just go for it at this point. But yeah, Sabres lineup is here thanks to Matthew Fairburn. So first line tonight, Peyton Krebs getting back up. He looked really, really good in the preseason game where he got him on that top line when Benson was out. So that first line, Peyton Krebs, Josh Norris, Tage Thompson. Second line, Zucker, Kulik, Tuck. Third line, Quinn, McLeod, Doan. And your fourth line, you have Gearston, Danforth, and Malenstein. Definitely not as strong when Zach Benson is in there, but I'm excited to see Peyton Krebs in this opportunity. Both Josh Norris goals when Krebs was on the top line was because of Peyton Krebs. He was good on zone entries. We know he's great pass, and we haven't seen him get to that next level yet, but he was really good there. So I'm excited to see how that all comes together. And on the back end, this is where things get a lot more fun. I don't even know if fun's the right word. Bowen Byram, Rasmus Dahlin, top pairing. They're staying together. Didn't know if they would move things around, but they're staying together. And then you have Samuelson, Timmins as your second pair now instead of your third. And then the bottom pairing, Jacob Bryson, and then Ryan Johnson, who's in now, and then Alex Line in net. So this is definitely not as strong as of a lineup that we saw or just envisioning just a few hours, but Benson Power day to day. Hopefully we can see them back for game 2. But until then, we have 10 minutes of puck drop. So for following along, thank you to over 2,000 people who stopped by tonight as the Sabres look to kick off their season against the New York Rangers. A couple, things here for people who are curious in terms of how, Vegas is looking at this game. Right now, it's kind of a pick'em between the Rangers and Sabres. With these injuries, the line has moved to New York just a bit. Nothing like super, super crazy, but still a pick'em there. And a couple things I'm looking at in terms of picks if people are interested. You have Josh Norris for just get 1 point tonight, even money. So we'll see what happens there. That lines look great in the preseason. And I'm interested to see what this game is going to look like now. It's, you still have Tage. You still have Josh Norris, still have Rasmus Dahlin, Bo Byram. Your big guns are still playing this game. So that's a relief. That's a good thing for the blue and gold. They're missing that kind of middle power, that no pun intended, that kind of middle, stuff for them. Zach Benson being on the top line, giving some energy there. Your fourth line, it's just a lot more tough to play against with Gearston on that line. And then I'm nervous on the defensive side. So we're really throwing Connor Timmins, Matthias Samuelson kind of into the sun. They're going to be your own pairing, and you're going to be playing top 4 minutes. We'll see Ryan Johnson's look good this preseason. But folks, for watching, comment along your predictions for tonight. I think I originally said 4-2, and I talked to Bunty earlier. 3-2. I think there might be one less on the board now. But I think this is a good thing for the Sabres. We've seen years past when they kind of get punched in the face, metaphorically or physically too. They kind of fall apart a bit. So they're without their former first overall pick. They're without Zach Benson. And what are they going to do? You're missing Michael Kessling as well, a guy you brought in this offseason after trading away J.J. Peterka. How's that going to look? I'm nervous on the Sabres middle six. If they're there, you get a goal out of Yuri Kulik. If you get 2 goals out of your middle six, I find it hard for the Sabres to lose this game. But I think a lot, of it is riding on Alex Line, how he is going to look. But folks, thank you to the 2,200 of you who stopped in tonight. I am Gatesy. I'm joined today by Viktor Maudr. I'm going to get that last name right at some point. Who's joining the team, the Sabres 2025 Fan of the Year, watching live in Czechia, and Mike Bundt, who stopped earlier and is now at the game. And we'll see what happens. The Buffalo Sabres look to kick off their 2025-2026 season and then the 14-year playoff drought. But it all starts one game at a time. We have 82 games this season. But I am Gatesy. Thank you again, everyone stopping by. We're going to do, whatever shows every Thursday, some pregame. You might even see me postgame. We'll see how things go from there. But folks, thank you. And let's have a good night now.